We are being asked to determine the 6 trig functions. Here is our xy axis, our circle, and then our coordinate point. To find our triangle, we start at the origin and we need to travel to this point. You always travel the x distance first, so my x distance told me to go a distance of -8. And then I need to travel my y distance, which told me to go up to the 15. This gave me my 90-degree angle, which then always looks at your hypotenuse. My hypotenuse is right here. I don't know the length of the hypotenuse, so we have to use Pythagorean theorem to find it. 15 is my A, -8 is my B, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to solve for C. So I just found my C to be 17. So let's identify our x, our y, and our r. X is the distance on the x-axis, -8. Y is the distance on the y-axis, which is 15. R is your hypotenuse, the radius, the middle, all the way out to the edge of the circle, which is 17. So here's my x, y, and r. So now we just need to find sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine is y divided by r. Cosine is x divided by r. And tangent is y divided by x. So y divided by r is 15 divided by 17. It doesn't simplify, so that's it, which meant the cosecant is 17 divided by 15. X divided by r is a -8 divided by 17, which simplifies to a -8 divided by 17. If that's cosine, secant, the reciprocal, is -17 divided by 8. Tangent is my y15 divided by x of a -8. Simplifying that, you have a -15 all over 8. The reciprocal of that is negative. Flip the fraction, it is 8 all over 15. And those are my 6 trig functions. So we are being asked to determine these 6 trig functions. We have our coordinate point on the circle with the x and y axis. So let's find our actual right triangle. You always travel the x-axis first, so I had to travel this way -5 because it said to do it -5. So this is my length of -5. And then I have to go down to where the 12 is, because that's what it told me to do, is to go down 12. So I went down 12. This makes my 90-degree angle, which now stares at my hypotenuse. So I've got my right triangle, which means I need to use Pythagorean theorem to find the one remaining side. So this is a -12. That was a distance of a -5. And we're trying to solve for C. So go ahead and solve for C. So I just found my C to be 13. So if we're going to identify x, y, and r, x is the distance on the x-axis, -5. Y is the distance on the y-axis, which is a -12. And you just found r to be 13. So now we got to find our 6 trig functions, which are sine, cosecant, cosine, secant, tangent, and cotangent. Sine is y divided by r, cosine is x divided by r, and tangent is y divided by x. So my sine, y divided by r, gave me a -12 divided by 13, which simplifies to -12 over 13. If that's sine, cosecant is -13 over 12. They're reciprocals, they flip. Cosine is x divided by r, so here's my x divided by my r. Simplifying, you have -5 all over 13. If this is cosine, secant is the reciprocal of it, so it's -13 over 5. Tangent is y divided by x, so I would have a -12 divided by a -5. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so this is the fraction 12/15. If I reciprocal that, I would get the fraction 5 over 12. And these are my 6 trig functions.